for joining us on this webcast, One Nation Left Behind, co-sponsored by Strong American Schools. I'm Emma Buckley, and we're here today to talk about just that, the education system here in America. And well, here today to join us is Crystal Harmon, a partner in the New Teacher Project, and Anne Galt, who's an education journalist. Given that America is one of the wealthiest nations in the world, how can the following statistics be true? And these statistics are actually given to us by the Strong American Schools, which is a non-partisan group focused on the need for bringing education reform to the forefront with America's leaders. 24 countries currently outscore America in math. 93% of American science teachers have little or no training in the field of science. 20 countries outscore the US in science, and 70% of American 8th graders can't read at 8th grade level. And America's had a 0% increase in the number of bachelor's and master's degrees. So what has contributed to this dismal situation? Are we in education crisis? And what does it mean for our children, given the globalization of the world right now? Will they be able to compete for jobs with other children and other adults from other countries in the future? And what can be done to improve these conditions? Crystal, tell us about your role within the New Teacher Project.
Sure. The New Teacher Project is a nonprofit organization that has two primary goals. The first of which is to increase the number of high-quality teachers that come into public school classrooms, and the second is to maximize the environments in which these teachers teach. I am a partner on our policy and research team, so I oversee district engagements and state-level engagements that look closely at policies that impact teacher quality.
And Anne, tell us a little bit about your career commenting on the education system right now.
I've covered various education topics for magazines and Scholastic, and I have 4 kids currently in the school system, 1 in the middle school and 3 in elementary school. So I have a lot of sort of real life experience, as it were.
And Crystal, you're a new mom as well.
That's right. I have a 5-month-old son.
My goodness, all fun at that age.
That's right.
Now, there is a dialogue going on in the country about the need for education reform. And some are saying that the key to this is attracting very well qualified teachers. Crystal, can you comment on how important the role of the teacher is in the classroom, which to me is an obvious one, that it's an important one, but you know, people are really commenting on this now.
Absolutely, teachers are the key, and there's research out there that says no other school-based factor matters more than the quality of the teacher, not class size, not facilities, or not curriculum. The real injustice here, though, is that we see that classrooms in high-need schools or high-poverty schools are often the ones least likely to get that high-quality teacher in the classroom. And frankly, we think this is a civil rights issue. And given that civil rights and sort of equality is something that women have struggled with, I really think that this is something that mothers can relate to when they think about education for their children.
So what is the problem with getting the right teacher in front of the classroom?
So there are a number of issues that contribute to all schools having equal access to high-quality teachers. And we think oftentimes the policies that are present in many urban and high-need districts really harm their ability to bring in the highest quality teachers. There are a number of programs out there that are looking to impact this situation. One is the New Teacher Project, the organization where I work. Another is Teach for America. And what these programs do is increase the number of pipelines by which teachers can enter the classroom through alternative route certification programs. And just to give you a little bit of context of what that is, alternative route certification programs are programs that attract recent college graduates or career changers who have a lot of content knowledge in their particular field, but who do not have a degree in education. These programs have very rigorous selection processes and very rigorous requirements for candidates to even be eligible to apply for them. Right now, the New Teacher Project is operating in over a dozen cities across the country, and this year alone, we have brought in over 3,000 teachers to urban districts across the United States.
So that can help get that statistic down that we were talking about, you know, that little to no experience in the field of science that we're seeing right now. So you're hoping to lure scientists who've been working in industry into the classroom
That's absolutely right.
to bring on the hands-on experience.
That's right.
And you have some comments on that.
What Crystal was saying about teachers and alternate routes, there's been, just in my little town in New Jersey, I know of 2 former Wall Street guys who are now math teachers at the high school. And you know, the sort of scuttlebutt in town is that they're fabulous. You know, they have this real world experience and then they're in the classroom.
That's really interesting that these 2 Wall Street guys are now teaching in a small New Jersey town, changing life direction to become a teacher. And you know what you're talking about, how we're trying to lure these professionals into this new profession. I mean, I'm just curious as to know what kind of lifestyle change becoming a teacher would be in terms of salary, in terms of benefits. So what is the starting salary for a teacher starting out as their first year?
We think the range is probably about between $36,000 and $45,000 a year, though I would emphasize that there's a real variation based on location across the United States. What we found, though, with our programs at the New Teacher Project is that many of these mid-career professionals are attracted to teaching not because of salary, but in fact because they are interested in making an impact and committed to doing a job that they find very meaningful.
It's also a lifestyle thing, isn't it? I mean, you know, my friend who's married to the former Wall Streeter turned math teacher, he's in their lives now. He is home at 4 o'clock, he has his summers off, and it's been great for their family. I mean, obviously he had the luxury of, I think, making a very good salary for a long time, so the income adjustment may not have impacted that family as much as it might someone outside of the New York City area, perhaps. So, but all things considered, it was a good move.
But it gets back to the, you know, that old adage that, you know, it's sort of not all about money, is it? At the end of the day, it is lifestyle. It is the fact that you can contribute and have a meaningful participation in your everyday family life.
And a vocation for you as well, personally. I
And the
think
job
that was
satisfaction.
missing. Exactly.
Can you
Summers
imagine?
off is a very nice thing.
I'm telling you, if I had learned math from someone who worked at Wall Street, I might know how to do long division now. You know? It might be.
Me too.
So, tell me about. We were saying, you know, across the country, and each state seems to have their own certification process. So, how does a teacher who's certified in one state work then in another?
So there's some variation here also, and it's very much a state-by-state issue. And all states have different reciprocity rules. To the extent to which they accept licensure from other states. In most cases, though, sort of as a really broad, sweeping general statement, if you have a license, a standard license in one state, you can usually transfer that to another state, sometimes pretty seamlessly, sometimes by just taking that particular state's required exam. So for example, in Maryland, they require a test called the Praxis exam. In New York, it is a different exam. So if you're gonna move to Maryland from New York, you need to take Maryland's state certification exam. In some circumstances, you may need to take a few credits, but usually you can pretty seamlessly become licensed to teach in another state.
That's the trouble with education. It's a blessing and a curse,
Yeah.
I suppose. It's very localized,
Yes.
which is a good thing, but then when you're talking sort of nationally, and I know when I write about education, that's always tricky because what's happening in Kansas is not necessarily happening in New Jersey or California, and it's very tricky when you're trying to level the playing field in terms of who's accomplishing what and when, and it all gets very complicated.
Yep, that's right. So many states do have a state code that allows for alternative route certification programs, although again, there's great variation. So what's required of candidates in one state can look very different than what's required in another state. And I think regardless of where you live, the state of all of our public schools affects us all. So even if your children don't attend what we might consider an urban or a high-needs school, it matters to every single one of us. It affects resources, it affects the economy, it affects graduation rates and what, you know, our children are being raised to do. So I would just sort of circle back to it's very much a civil rights issue, and that something that all parents should be very concerned about, the quality of education in this country and ensuring really equal access for all children.
Tell me about the tenure system and what's happening with that.
In terms of tenure overall, the New Teacher Project does